This presentation will provide an overview on how to have a conversation with a pivoter who is only using e-cigarettes and how to coach that user to successfully quit. Now, it's likely you're going to run into the question, can e-cigarettes help me quit? Well, we truly believe that there's lots of ways for pivoters to quit, and we also believe that pivoters are their own experts in their own journey. And we work with them with whatever they're using, whether that's e-cigarettes, smokeless tobacco, a dual use of e-cigarettes, and smoking cigarettes, whatever that combination is, we work with them and meet them where they are. But we want to point out that e-cigarettes also contain nicotine, just like cigarettes and other smokeless tobacco. That is the addictive property found in cigarettes. However, we want you to get curious with the pivoters and understanding how they plan to use the e-cigarettes into helping them quit. So really diving into that quit plan. A few things we want to point out before we get started about coaching directly with pivoters is that there is conclusive evidence that completely substituting e-cigarettes for cigarettes, let's say, reduces the exposure to numerous amounts of harmful substances that are found in cigarettes. So all those combustibles, those 7,000 different toxins we talked about previously in some of our other earlier presentations. There's also limited evidence that e-cigarettes may be an effective aid to promote smoking cessation. Additionally, there's no evidence whether long-term use of e-cigarettes among dual users or to someone who's just using e-cigarettes alone actually changes the morbidity and mortality compared to those who are only just using cigarettes. So how do you coach a user that's just using e-cigarettes? Well, it'll be slightly different from a user that's just smoking cigarettes. However, you're still going to have the same fundamentals here. You're still going to ask them about their goal, why they use e-cigarettes, what's the benefits, what's the cons for them, what does their previous quit history look like, what are their triggers, what trigger them to draw from that e-cigarette, what are their routines around pulling from it, how often do they do it, how many times, what is the nicotine level that's found in their e-cigarettes. You also want to talk about, well, how does their stress, their mood, or their emotions impact how they use e-cigarettes, as well as any social situations like do they use e-cigarettes more when they're drinking? Do they use it when they're using their coffee? Also their cravings, their withdrawal patterns, do they plan on wanting to use medications, what's their history with using medications, and then titrating down, so using different levels of nicotine that are found in their e-cigarettes. Once they've successfully quit, you also want to continue to talk about withdrawals because they're going to experience them because they're still having that nicotine addiction from that e-cigarette with the nicotine juice. Again, helping them navigate medications and trying to use medications to eventually get off the e-cigarettes, as well as adapting their routines now that they're no longer pulling from the e-cigarettes, making sure that they're kind of adapting those routines where they would normally pull from, as well as if they needed to adapt their quit plan, if they have any slips or they relapse, talking through those same processes, very similar to how we would use similar conversations with users that are smoking cigarettes alone.